Let me start with Ishmael in Cairo. It was interesting that 2 days after the president was elected, he invited some of the people that were injured during the revolution, so to speak, but also he was seen kissing the foreheads of some of the family members whose family or whose relatives died. What is he trying to do here?
Yeah, actually, what he's trying to do is to try to let them know that he is with the revolutionary. Because those who were injured during the revolution, which brought, outset the President Mubarak in 25th of January. So he's trying to convince them that he is with them.
Indeed.
And he is supporting what they did actually during the revolution.
He's going to have to do a lot of that, though, considering the fact that also he's going to have to convince the about, 48% of the people that didn't vote for him that even though they didn't vote for him, but he is still a president for all Egyptians.
Yeah, actually, this is what he said in his first speech. He said that I'm a president for those who voted for me and those who voted against me, but I'm a president for all Egyptians, and I'm not going to to discriminate anyone, whether Muslim or Egyptian or whatsoever. I'm a president for all Egyptians. This is what he said.
And some people are suggesting that immediately after the announcement, of course, of the outcome of the election, there's been a lot of behind-the-scenes negotiations about the relationship between himself, the Muslim Brotherhood, and the military. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, actually, this happened because military was supporting Ahmad Shafiq, the opponent of Mohammed Morsi. During the elections, especially during the runoff. So in that case, they wanted to reconcile and to try to clear this atmosphere and to let people, or to let the military and the ruling, the new president to be in good relations. This is what he's trying.
And what are the expectations, though? Are they going to get along? I mean, as you say, that one of the things that has been happening is that over the decades, the military has been chasing, persecuting, arresting Muslim Brotherhood. And, of course, now with the election, they were supporting the president's opponents. Are they likely to get along?
Yeah, actually, this is what people hope that, the military was, as I have said, arresting even himself, this Mohammed Morsi during the revolution of 25th of January 2011. He was detained, himself and others. And he managed to be outside, and then as you know that Egypt from the beginning, since 1952, was ruled by military people, starting from Hamad Najib and President Nasser, President Sadat, and Mubarak after that. All these were military people. So this is the first time Egypt to be ruled by a civilian person. So people are very happy for that. And they hope that this new president is going to do a lot for them. Especially there are some files or a challenge waiting for him. If we talk about the domestic challenge, we say that there's unemployment and security. And you know that Egypt depends on tourism in its economy. Mm-hmm. So because security is not good, tourists are not coming to Egypt now. We will have to work very hard during these few months to let tourists to come to Egypt in order to revive this source of financial currency for Egypt. Also, he will have to. He will have to face the heavy corruption legacy. and he will have to try to solve this problem.
All right. All right.
Also, reconciliation between Muslims and Coptic people, Christians who claim that they are not getting their rights here. So he will have to do that. In that case, he promised maybe he will choose one of his vice or assistant, head of state to be a Christian.
Oh, that's interesting because already apparently there are some disputes and that there were some revolutionary factions that were either planning a march or marched to the presidential palace. Apparently they had a march called Beer is Our Right. They are protesting against any attempt by the new president to impose a religious state. There are skeptics in Egypt about what's likely to happen with the Muslim Brotherhood now in the presidency.
No, I don't think that this will happen. These were fears raised among people in Egypt here, and that's why from the beginning they didn't want any Islamists to rule this country, which has got Muslims and the Christians. So he made a speech to say that no, I'm not going to impose any Islamic rule in Egypt. It will be ruled in a secular way. So these fears have already he denied that he is not going to, that will not happen at all.
I want to ask this question before I go to my callers. Perhaps I'll start with Ishmael here, because I want to know what the implications for the election of the Muslim Brotherhood will be in the region. The political dynamics in the region, particularly the relationship with Israel. How have the Israelis reacted to this?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. Actually, this result did not please Israel. Israel didn't want him to, this move to be in power. They wanted Shafiq to be in power. But I think Shafiq will have to, to solve that problem. That is because Egypt, since the 1979, after the signing of Camp David peace treaty, has become in the front line with Palestinians to try to solve the problem, especially the problem between Palestinians and Israel, which you know that there are some lands still occupied by Israeli people. So anyone who rules Egypt will have to take that position of being in front of with Palestinians to solve the problem. And in that case, he will have to know how to talk with Israeli people. He will have to reconcile them and to be in friendly way, because as you know that Israel have the embassy here in Egypt, and Egypt has an embassy in Israel. Being only two countries all over the Arab world to have diplomatic relation with Israel. That is, Egypt and Jordan.
Sure. Let me quickly ask you, though, about the reaction of the Palestinians, especially in Gaza. There has been a relationship between the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. What was the reaction in Gaza?
Actually, especially Hamas, they celebrated for Muslim Brotherhood, because the Hamas and the Brotherhood they have very strong relations. So for them, it is as if they have gained something very important for them to have a president ruling Egypt who is Islamist, who will be in the same way with Hamas, the thing.
And Fatah?
But the Egyptian president is going to be with Hamas. Indeed, he is president of Egypt. He will have to treat all Palestinians, Fatah and Hamas, in the same way. It's a country which wants to let them reconcile and to let Palestine one country and to be able to face their hostile, Israeli.
All right, just a quick one.
In a good way.
Abu Mazen, Fatah, PA, any comment?
Yes, Abu Mazen also congratulated the new president. Abu Mazen congratulated him, saying that what we need is to continue with good relations between us and to let Egypt pioneering the reconciliation between two parts, that is Hamas and the Fatah.
Susan in Ilovo. Hello, Susan.
Kalani, I don't know what the hoo-ha is about with the Brotherhood. I mean, look at the good that they've done with their communities inside Egypt. The Egyptians aren't silly. They've voted with their feet. You know, we must just trust that they know what they want. We can't second-guess them. I think the world should grow up and get over it and get over their Ikhwanophobia and Islamophobia, whatever it is, and just accept the fact that the people want them in this place, in this position, and be done with it.
That's interesting. I'll get my guest to respond to that, Susan. Thank you very much. 0891 10428. Espio in KZN says, the way Egyptians are so addicted to street sitting, even after the election of this Dr. Morsi, give them a month or so and they'll be back at Tahrir Square. Another one says, is Egypt going to another election to elect parliamentary members? There is also John who says, the military is in charge in Egypt, just like the ANC is here. And both of these do as they want. There is no such thing as democracy. Ike says, USA don't want democracy in Egypt. They are trying to protect Israel. And what is wrong if Egypt votes for an Islamist? There's also Sonny who says Egypt and other Muslims are daydreaming of Islamizing Africa. And another one says, unfortunately, the ANC will never grant our voters the democratic right to elect a president. Naeem, do you want to respond to Susan? Because obviously at the core of what she's saying is that there's a lot of Islamophobia about how people are reacting to the election of Dr. Morsi.
Yeah, well, I like the term that she used. I'm not sure whether she used it inadvertently. Ikhwanophobia, which I think is relevant in this case. That there's this whole kind of hype around the Muslim Brotherhood, or in Arabic, Ikhwan al-Muslimun, and I think the earlier caller Faisal kind of encapsulated that. It's just negativity, you know, because it's the Muslim Brotherhood. There's going to be no women's rights. There's going to be no religious freedom, etc. Without giving them any chance to say exactly what they're going to do and to do what they want to do. The statements that have come out from Morsi, his acceptance speech, have been all about unity, about including Christians. I think Ismail made a comment earlier on about Morsi's statement that he wants one of his vice presidents to be a Christian, that they're not going to undermine the rights of women, etc. Let's also remember that under Mubarak, Christians and women didn't have a great time. I mean, while the uprisings were taking place, we might remember that there were a few churches bombed, and it was later found out that those churches were bombed on instructions from Mubarak's Interior Ministry. The deal that women have had in Egypt hasn't been great, except for, you know, those in the elite. So I think that these are challenges that a new government faces, whatever that government is going to be, whether they call themselves Islamist or they call themselves liberal or they call themselves socialist. These and challenges around socio-economic issues, etc., are what they face. And, you know, let's give them a chance